Nobody really teaches us how to protect our hearts. We grow up learning how to chase attention, how to seek validation, how to confuse attachment with love. Some relationships leave scars. Some leave people questioning who they even became. Before you give your heart, you should first understand its worth. Nobody really teaches us how to protect our heart. We grow up learning many things. We learn how to speak. We learn how to walk. We learn how to survive. We learn how to chase dreams, chase success, and chase opportunities. But very few people are ever truly taught how to protect the deepest part of themselves, the heart. And because of that, many people enter love unprepared. They enter relationships with open emotions, but without wisdom. They enter connection with desire, but without discernment. They enter attachment with hope, but without understanding. And slowly, without realizing it, people begin giving pieces of themselves away before they even understand their own value. Some relationships leave memories. Some relationships leave lessons. But some relationships leave wounds. Some leave confusion. Some leave emotional scars that people carry quietly for years. Some leave people questioning who they became, what they ignored, and why they stayed so long in a place that was slowly destroying their peace. But maybe the real issue is not simply that people want love. Wanting love is human. Wanting connection is human. Wanting to be seen, chosen, valued, and understood is human. The deeper issue is that many people enter love emotionally unprepared. They enter relationships before they have healed. They give their heart before they have learned their worth. They trust before they have tested character. They commit before they have observed consistency. They attach before they have discerned alignment. And this is where many hearts begin to suffer. Because love without wisdom can become confusion. Connection without discernment can become pain. And desire without emotional maturity can lead people into relationships that damage the very soul they were trying to protect. This is not just a conversation about dating. This is not just a conversation about romance. This is a conversation about wisdom, discernment, healing, emotional maturity, self-worth, and the value of the human heart. Because before you give your heart, you should first understand its worth. Then we should ask the question, why so many relationships fail? Because we live in a generation more connected than ever before. People can message each other instantly. They can meet through apps. They can follow each other online. They can watch each other's lives from a distance. They can like, comment, react, and communicate in seconds. And yet, despite all this access, Many people have never felt more emotionally alone. There is more communication, but less understanding. More attention, but less commitment. More attraction, but less emotional maturity. More options, but less clarity. Many relationships fail today and begin with excitement though. They begin with chemistry. They begin with physical attraction. They begin with constant messages, long conversations, and the feeling that someone finally sees you. But very few relationships begin with deep understanding. Very few begin with real questions. Very few relationships begin with patience. Very few begin with emotional honesty. Very few begin with discernment. And that is one of the reasons so many relationships fail. Because attraction can start a connection, but it cannot sustain a relationship. Chemistry can create excitement, but it cannot replace character. Attention can make someone feel wanted, but it cannot prove love. Words can sound beautiful, but they cannot replace consistency. And feelings can be powerful, but feelings alone are not enough to build something healthy. Many people are entering relationships carrying pain they have never healed from. They carry insecurity. They carry fear. They carry rejection. They carry abandonment wounds. They carry disappointment from the past. They carry memories of people who misused their trust. They carry emotional damage from relationships that taught them to doubt themselves. And instead of healing first, many people look for another person to rescue them emotionally. They hope a relationship will fix the loneliness. They hope attention will heal the insecurity. They hope affection will silence the fear. They hope being chosen by someone else will finally make them feel valuable. But love was never designed to replace identity. Love was never designed to become emotional dependency. Love was never designed to be a substitute for healing. When a person enters a relationship without emotional wholeness, they may begin depending on someone else to give them what they have not yet built within themselves. They begin needing constant reassurance. They begin fearing distance. They begin tolerating disrespect because they do not want to be abandoned. They begin ignoring warning signs because the thought of losing the relationship feels more painful than the damage the relationship is causing. And slowly, what started as love begins to feel like anxiety. What started as connection begins to feel like control. What started as excitement begins to feel like emotional exhaustion. Somewhere along the way, many people started confusing attention with connection. But attention is not always love. Someone can give you attention and still not have the character to protect your heart. Someone can text you every day and still not be emotionally available. Someone can compliment you and still not respect you. Someone can desire you and still not value you. Attention can feel good, but attention alone does not mean someone is safe. Many people also confuse chemistry with compatibility. Chemistry is the feeling. Compatibility is the foundation. Chemistry says, I feel drawn to you. Compatibility asks, can we build something healthy together? Chemistry can be instant. Compatibility must be observed. Chemistry can be emotional. Compatibility requires wisdom. Two people can feel deeply attracted to each other and still be completely misaligned in values, maturity, communication, discipline, faith, vision, and emotional stability. And when chemistry is stronger than discernment, people often ignore what wisdom is trying to show them. They ignore inconsistency. They ignore dishonesty. They ignore emotional instability. They ignore selfishness. They ignore manipulation. They ignore the absence of peace, not because they do not see the signs, but because they are emotionally attached to the possibility of what the relationship could become. This is one of the most dangerous places to be. Loving potential more than reality. Some people fall in love with who they believe someone could become, while suffering from who that person already is. They keep hoping. They keep waiting. They keep explaining away behavior. They keep telling themselves, maybe things will change. And sometimes, yes, people can grow. People can mature. People can heal. But wisdom knows the difference between patience and self-destruction. Wisdom knows the difference between giving someone grace and constantly abandoning yourself. Wisdom knows the difference between a relationship that is growing and a relationship that is draining your life. Social media has also changed the way many people experience relationships. Relationships have become performance. People post love, but hide pain. They show affection publicly, but struggle privately. They create the image of happiness while silently living in confusion. And because of this, many people begin comparing their real emotional life to someone else's edited presentation. They start believing that love must always look exciting, always look perfect, always be posted, always be seen, always be validated. But real love is not performance. Real love is not built for applause. Real love is not measured by how good it looks online. Real love is measured by what it produces in the lives of the people involved. Does it produce peace? Does it produce growth? Does it produce honesty? Does it produce maturity? Does it produce emotional safety? Does it bring you closer to your values or further away from them? Does it strengthen your relationship with God or pull you into confusion? Does it help you become more whole or does it constantly break you down? These are the questions many people do not ask early enough. Instead of asking, is this relationship healthy? Many people ask, does this person make me feel wanted right now? Instead of asking, is this person consistent? They ask, do I feel excited when they message me? Instead of asking, does this relationship bring peace? They ask, am I afraid to lose them? But fear is not love. Anxiety is not love. Confusion is not love. Constant emotional pain is not proof of deep connection. Sometimes it is evidence that something is unhealthy. One of the deepest reasons relationships fail is because people give access to their hearts before they have observed the character of the person receiving it. They give trust too quickly. They give loyalty too quickly. They give emotion access too quickly. They give spiritual and personal intimacy to someone who has not yet proven that they can handle it with care. And when the wrong person receives access to a heart they are not matured enough to protect, damage often follows. Some of the deepest pain people carry came from giving their heart to someone who was never prepared to protect it. That is why discernment matters. That is why patience matters. That is why healing matters. That is why wisdom matters. Because love is powerful. But love without wisdom can become suffering. And maybe that is why so many people are emotionally tired. Not because they do not believe in love, but because they have experienced connection without protection, attachments without peace, affection without commitment, promises without consistency, and relationships without wisdom. Before you give your heart, you must learn to slow down. You must learn to observe. You must learn to listen. You must learn to recognize patterns. You must learn to value peace. You must learn that not everyone who desires your presence deserves access to your soul. Because your heart is not casual. Your heart is not disposable. Your heart is not something to be handed to anyone simply because they made you feel wanted for a moment. Your heart has value. And anything valuable must be protected with wisdom. That is where the journey begins. Now, the cost of giving your heart too early. The heart is powerful, but it is also fragile. And when people give it away carelessly, the damage is really temporary. Some people recover from heartbreak quickly, but others carry the weight for years. They lose confidence, they lose peace, they lose clarity, they lose trust, and slowly, without realizing it, they begin losing parts of themselves. Because unhealthy relationships do not only affect emotions, they affect identity, they affect self-worth, they affect how people see love, they affect how people see trust, and sometimes they even affect how people see themselves. A person can enter a relationship full of hope, joy, and expectation, but after being hurt repeatedly, manipulated emotionally, or ignored consistently, that same person can begin to question their own value. They may begin to ask, was I not enough? Did I love too much? Why did I ignore what I felt? Why did I stay when I knew something was wrong? And those questions can become heavy because heartbreak does not always end when the relationship ends. Sometimes the relationship ends, but the emotional damage remains. The memories remain, the fear remains, the insecurity remains, the distrust remains, And the person who once loved freely now begins to protect themselves from everyone, even people who never hurt them. That is one of the hidden costs of giving your heart too early. You do not only risk being hurt by one person, you risk allowing one unhealthy experience to affect the way you love, trust, and connect in the future. That is why wisdom matters. Because the heart remembers what the mind tries to forget. The heart remembers disappointment. The heart remembers betrayal. The heart remembers being ignored. The heart remembers being used. The heart remembers being promised love, but being given confusion. And if healing does not happen, those memories can shape a person's future relationships. They may become suspicious. They may become emotionally guarded. They may push away healthy love because unhealthy love taught them not to trust peace. They may confuse calmness with boredom. They may confuse consistency with lack of passion. They may confuse emotional safety with unfamiliarity because chaos became normal. That is why unhealthy attachment is so dangerous. It can train the heart to accept what it was never created to endure. Sometimes the warning signs were there from the beginning. The inconsistency, the lack of honesty, the emotional distance, the disrespect, the manipulation, the absence of peace, the way they made you feel small, the way they apologized but never changed, the way they said the right words but repeated the same behavior, the way your spirit felt uneasy even when your emotions wanted to stay. But loneliness can make red flags look small. And emotional attachment can make people stay where wisdom was already telling them to live. A person may know something is wrong. They may feel it. They may sense it. They may see the pattern. They may even talk about it with others. But when the heart is deeply attached, living can feel impossible. Not because the relationship is healthy, but because the attachment is strong. And attachment is powerful. Attachment can make people defend what is damaging them. Attachment can make people explain away behavior that should have been addressed. Attachment can make people tolerate emotional pain just to avoid emotional loss. Attachment can make someone say, "At least they are still here. At least they still text me. At least they say they love me. At least I'm not alone." But love should never reduce someone to accepting crumbs. Love should never make a person grateful for the bare minimum. Love should never make someone feel like basic respect is a privilege. And yet, when people give their hearts too early, they can become emotionally invested before they have fully evaluated the person they are investing in. They begin building hope before they have seen consistency. They begin imagining a future before they have tested character. They begin attaching emotionally before they have observed emotional maturity. And once the heart is attached, it becomes harder to walk away. This is why patience is protection. Patience gives time for character to reveal itself. Patience gives time for patterns to become clear. Patience gives time for words and actions to either align or contradict each other. Patience protects the heart from being moved only by emotions. because emotions can be sincere and still be unwise. A person can genuinely feel something and still be wrong about the relationship. They can feel deeply connected and still be equally aligned. They can feel strongly drawn to someone and still be entering something unhealthy. Feelings are real, but feelings are not always reliable leaders. This is why the heart needs wisdom. One of the greatest dangers in relationships is falling in love with potential. Potential can be beautiful. Potential means possibility. Potential means someone may grow. Potential means the future could be different. But potential is not the same as reality. Some people keep loving who someone could become, while suffering from who that person currently is. They keep waiting for maturity, waiting for honesty, waiting for consistency, and waiting for respect, waiting for peace, waiting for the version of the person they imagine in their mind. But love cannot be built only on imagination. A healthy relationship must be built on truth. Who is this person now? How did they treat you now? How did they handle correction now? How did they respond when you express pain now? How did they communicate now? How did they act when they are angry now? How did they behave when no one is watching now? These questions really matter because many people do not fall in love with the person. They fall in love with the idea of what the person could be, the idea of what the relationship could become, the idea of finally being chosen, the idea of not being alone, the idea of having someone to call their own. But an idea cannot protect your heart. An idea cannot give you peace. An idea cannot become consistency. An idea cannot replace character. And when reality keeps hurting you, but the idea keeps holding you, the heart becomes trapped between truth and hope. That place is painful because you are not only grieving what happened, you are grieving what you hoped would happen. You are grieving the future you imagined. You are grieving the version of the person you wanted them to become. And sometimes that grief is deeper than people understand. Because it is possible to meet someone and still know they were not healthy for you. It is possible to love someone and still know they were not safe for your heart. It is possible to care deeply and still need to walk away. That is emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is not pretending you do not feel anything. Emotional maturity is learning not to let your feelings lead you into destruction. Because not every feeling deserves a decision. Not every desire deserves access. Not every emotional pull is a divine signal. Some things feel intense because they are familiar to your wounds. Some things feel powerful because they trigger what has not been healed. Some connections feel deep because they touch a place of need, not because they are healthy. That is why discernment is necessary. Discernment asks deeper questions. Discernment does not only ask, how do I feel? Discernment asks, what is this producing in me? Am I becoming more peaceful or more anxious? Am I becoming more confident or more insecure? Am I becoming closer to God or more confused? Am I growing or am I shrinking? Am I loved or am I emotionally managed? Am I valued or am I being used? These questions can save a person years of pain. But many people avoid them because they are afraid of the answer. They are afraid that if they tell themselves the truth, they may have to make a decision they are not ready to make. So they delay clarity. They ignore discomfort. They silence intuition. They explain away patterns. They keep hoping love will fix what wisdom is warning them about. But delayed truth still becomes truth. Avoided red flags still become consequences. Ignored patterns still become pain. And unprotected hearts still become wounded hearts. That is why giving your heart too early can be so costly. Because when you give someone deep emotional access before they have proven emotional responsibility, you place something valuable in uncertain hands. The heart was not designed to be handled carelessly. It was not designed to be manipulated. It was not designed to be played with. It was not designed to be used as a temporary comfort for someone who does not have the maturity to love properly. Your heart deserves more than attention. It deserves care. Your heart deserves honesty. Your heart deserves peace. It deserves consistency. It deserves someone whose actions have enough integrity to match their words. And if someone cannot protect your peace, respect your boundaries, honor your emotions, or handle your heart with maturity, then access should be limited. That is not bitterness. That is wisdom. That is not pride. That is protection. That is not fear. Excuse me. That is discernment. Some people think protecting their heart means becoming cold. But protection does not mean hardness. Protection means wisdom. Protection means boundaries. Protection means patience. Protection means observing before surrendering. Protection means not allowing loneliness to make decisions that wisdom will never approve. Because loneliness has caused many people to give their heart away before wisdom gave them permission. And sometimes the heart suffers because it was given in desperation, not discernment. This is not to condemn anyone who has been hurt. This is not to shame anyone who loved deeply and was disappointed. Sometimes people love sincerely and still get hurt. Sometimes people trust someone who does not deserve it. Sometimes people give their best to someone who mishandles it. And when that happens, healing is still possible. Restoration is still possible. Peace is still possible. Wisdom can still be gained. The pain does not have to become your identity. The heartbreak does not have to define your future. The disappointment does not have to close your heart forever, but it must teach you. It must awaken you. It must help you understand that your heart is valuable. And anything valuable must be protected. The cost of giving your heart too early is not just heartbreak. It is the loss of peace, the loss of clarity, the loss of confidence, the loss of emotional safety, the loss of time, the loss of self-trust, the loss of spiritual alignment, and sometimes the loss of the person you were before the pain change you. But here is the hope. Even if your heart has been wounded, it can heal. Even if you ignore the signs, you can learn. Even if you stay too long, you can still grow. Even if you gave your heart too quickly before, you can choose differently now. Wisdom does not erase the past, but it can redeem the lesson. Healing does not deny the pain, but it gives the pain purpose. And discernment does not close the heart. It teaches the heart how to open safely. So before you give your heart again, pause, pray, observe, heal, listen, discern. Do not rush what should be protected. Do not force what does not bring peace. Do not confuse emotional intensity with divine alignment. Do not hand your heart to someone simply because they made you feel wanted, because your heart is valuable. And the person who receives it should understand that value. But first, you must understand it too. What does healthy love actually require? Healthy love requires more than emotion. It requires wisdom, because real love is not built only on attraction. It is built on alignment, emotional maturity, honesty, patience, peace, communication, self-control, and the ability to protect what is sacred. Many people want love, but not everyone is prepared for love. Many people want connection, but not everyone has developed the maturity required to sustain connection. Many people want commitment, but not everyone understands the responsibility that comes with having access to another person's heart. Because love is not only about what you feel, love is also about what you are able to carry. Can you carry another person's vulnerability with care? Can you listen without always defending yourself? Can you communicate without manipulating? Can you apologize without repeating the same behavior? Can you be honest when honesty is uncomfortable? Can you remain faithful when temptation appears? Can you protect someone's peace, not just enjoy their presence? These are the questions that separate emotion attraction from healthy love. Because healthy love is not just about finding someone who excites you. It is about finding someone who has the character to handle you with wisdom. A person can be attractive and still be emotionally unsafe. A person can be charming and still be inconsistent. A person can speak beautifully and still lack discipline. A person can make you feel wanted and still not be ready to love you properly. That is why healthy love requires discernment. Discernment sees beyond presentation. Discernment does not only listen to words. Discernment watches patterns. Discernment observes consistency. Discernment pays attention to peace. Discernment asks, who is this person when they are frustrated? Who are they when they do not get their way? Who are they when they are corrected? Who are they when no one is clapping for them? Who are they when responsibility is required? Because character is not proven by romantic words. Character is proven by repeated behavior. And one of the greatest mistakes people make is believing words before observing patterns. Someone can say they love you, but do their actions protect you? Someone can say they care, but do they listen when you express pain? Someone can say they want a future with you, but are they becoming the type of person who can build that future responsibly? Someone can say they are different, but does their pattern confirm it? Early love requires alignment between words and actions. Without that alignment, trust becomes unstable. And where trust is unstable, peace becomes difficult. This is why peace matters. Peace is not boring. Peace is not weakness. Peace is not the absence of passion. Peace is a form of protection. Peace is one of the signs that something is not constantly fighting against your soul. A healthy relationship may still have disagreements. It may still have difficult conversations. It may still require growth. But healthy love does not constantly leave you anxious, confused, insecure, and emotionally drained. Healthy love does not make you feel like you are always begging to be understood. Healthy love does not make you question your value every day. Healthy love does not require you to abandon your peace just to keep someone close. Because love should not feel like a constant battle for basic respect. It should not feel like emotional survival. It should not feel like you are losing yourself just to be chosen. Real love should help you become more whole, not more broken. It should help you grow, not shrink. It should help you feel safe, enough to be honest, not afraid enough to be silent. And this is one of the things people must understand before they give their hearts. Love should not constantly make you smaller. If a relationship is constantly requiring you to betray your values, silence your pain, ignore your boundaries, and accept what is destroying your peace, then wisdom must ask whether that relationship is truly healthy. Because healthy love does not demand the death of your identity. Healthy love does not require you to become less of yourself to keep someone else comfortable. Healthy love does not make you abandon the very things that make your soul stable. Your values really matter. Your peace matters. Your boundaries matter. Your relationship with God matters. Your emotional health matters. Your future matters. And anyone who truly loves you should care about the condition of your soul, not just the convenience of your presence. This is why emotional maturity is so important. Without emotional maturity, love becomes unstable. People react instead of communicate. They punish instead of explain. They avoid instead of address. They manipulate instead of being honest. They use silence as a weapon. They use affection as control. They refuse accountability. They apologize with words, but continue with the same behavior. And over time, the relationship becomes emotionally exhausting. Not because love itself is exhausting, but because immaturity makes love difficult to sustain. Emotional maturity means being able to feel deeply without behaving destructively. It means being able to be hurt without trying to hurt back. It means being able to communicate pain without using it as a weapon. It means being able to say, I was wrong. I need to grow. I hear you. I understand why that hurts you. I will not only apologize, I will change. That kind of maturity is rare, but it is necessary because a relationship cannot be healthy if only one person is willing to grow. One-sided growth becomes burden. One-sided communication becomes exhaustion. One-sided forgiveness becomes emotional labor. One-sided commitment becomes suffering. Healthy love requires mutual responsibility. Both people must be willing to examine themselves. Both people must be willing to grow. Both people must be willing to protect the relationship. Both people must be willing to honor the heart they have been trusted with. Because love is not proven only in moments of excitement. Love is proven in moments that require discipline. When emotions are high, when pride is challenged, when patience is tested, when communication is uncomfortable, when forgiveness is needed, when consistency is required, when temptations appears, when the relationship requires more than feelings, that is where the truth of love is revealed. Healthy love also requires boundaries. Some people misunderstand boundaries. They think boundaries mean rejection. They think boundaries mean distance. They think boundaries mean someone is being difficult. But boundaries are not rejection. Boundaries are wisdom. Boundaries are protection. Boundaries are clarity. Boundaries help people understand what is healthy, what is acceptable, and what cannot continue. Without boundaries, people often confuse access with love. They allow someone unlimited access to their emotions, their time, their body, their attention, and their peace without first understanding whether that person has the maturity to handle that access. But access should be earned through character. Access should be guarded by wisdom. Access should never be given only because someone is attractive, available, or emotionally persuasive. Because the heart needs boundaries, the mind needs boundaries, the soul needs boundaries, and relationships need boundaries. Boundaries are not meant to keep love away. They are meant to protect love from becoming destructive. A healthy person will respect your boundaries. An unhealthy person will be offended by them. A healthy person will ask to understand. An unhealthy person will pressure you to remove them. A healthy person will honor your pace. An unhealthy person will rush your emotions. A healthy person will care about your peace. An unhealthy person will only care about access. That difference matters because how someone responds to your boundaries often reveals how they will handle your heart. Healthy love also requires healing. This is important because unhealed pain can enter a relationship and begin to speaking louder than truth. Unhealed rejection can make someone fear abandonment even when they are loved. Unhealed betrayal can make someone suspicious even when there is honesty. Unhealed insecurity can make someone depend too heavily on reassurance. Unhealed trauma can make peace feel unfamiliar. And if people do not heal, they may punish the present for what happened in the past. They may make a new person pay for what an old person did. They may reject healthy love because unhealthy love trained them to expect pain. That is why healing is not optional. Healing is preparation. Healing helps a person love from wholeness instead of wounds. Healing helps a person respond with wisdom instead of fear. Healing helps a person recognize the difference between intuition and insecurity. Healing helps a person stop mistaking chaos for passion. Healing helps a person become emotionally available for something healthy. Because when someone has not healed, they may say they want love, but they may not know how to receive it safely. They may test it, they may sabotage it, they may mistrust it, they may run from it. They may confuse peace with danger because peace is unfamiliar. And this is why self-awareness matters. A person must know themselves before they give themselves deeply to another person. They must know their wants, their patterns, their fears, their triggers, their values, their weaknesses, their emotional needs, their spiritual convictions. Because if a person does not understand themselves, they may enter love expecting someone else to explain them, fix them, complete them, or rescue them. But no human being should be placed in the position of becoming someone's savior. That is too much weight for a relationship to carry. Love can support healing, but love should not replace healing. Love can encourage growth, but love should not become the only source of identity. Love can bring comfort, but love should not become emotional dependency. That is why healthy love begins with personal responsibility. Before asking, who is the right person for me? A person must also ask, am I becoming healthy enough to love correctly? Am I emotionally mature? Am I honest with myself? Am I healed enough to recognize peace? Am I wise enough to notice patterns? Am I grounded enough not to lose myself in another person? These questions are not easy, but they are necessary because many people are asking God for love, but they are not preparing themselves to handle love with maturity. They are asking for a healthy relationship while still carrying unhealthy patterns. They are asking for someone trustworthy while ignoring the areas where they still need growth. They are asking for peace while remaining attached to chaos. They are asking for commitment while still being ruled by fear. But healthy love requires preparation. It requires becoming. It requires growth before access. It requires wisdom before surrender. It requires healing before attachment. It requires standards before emotions take over. And standards are important. Not unrealistic standards, not prideful standards, not shallow standards, but healthy standards. Standards that protect your values, standards that protect your future, standards that protect your peace, standards that honor your relationship with God, Standards that help you recognize when something is not aligned. Standards are not about thinking you are better than others. Standards are about knowing what is healthy for your life. If you do not have standards, emotions will create excuses. Loneliness will negotiate. Attraction will distract. Words will persuade. And before long, you may find yourself accepting things you once said you would never tolerate. This is why a person must know what they value before they are trusted by feelings. Because feelings can become loud. Attraction can become persuasive. Loneliness can become convincing. And without standards, the heart can be pulled in directions wisdom never approved. Healthy love requires spiritual alignment too. This does not mean two people will be perfect. It does not mean they will never struggle. It does not mean they will agree on every detail. But it does mean that the relationship should not constantly pull a person away from God, away from purpose, away from peace, and away from truth. A relationship should not require spiritual compromise to survive. It should not make obedience feel inconvenient. It should not make wisdom feel like an enemy. It should not make purity, patience, honesty, and discernment feel like obstacles. Because love that is truly aligned will not ask you to abandon your foundation. It will not pressure you to silence conviction. It will not require you to choose between peace and attachment. It will not make you feel like you must lose yourself to keep the relationship. Healthy love should support purpose. It should respect values. It should encourage growth. It should create space for honesty. It should make wisdom welcome. It should make peace possible. And while no relationship is perfect, a healthy relationship should not consistently destroy the very things that keep your soul stable. That is why before you give your heart, you must pay attention to what the relationship is producing. Not only how it feels, what is it producing? Is it producing peace? Is it producing clarity? Is it producing growth? Is it producing emotional safety? Is it producing discipline? Is it producing honesty? Is it producing spiritual strength? Or is it producing anxiety, confusion, fear, compromise, insecurity, emotional exhaustion, distance from God? The fruit really matters because the fruit reveals the root. A relationship may feel exciting, but if it constantly produces confusion, then wisdom must pay attention. A relationship may feel intense, but if it constantly produces insecurity, then wisdom must pay attention. A relationship may feel passionate, but if it consistently pulls you away from peace, purpose, and truth, then wisdom must pay attention. Healthy love is not just about who you want, it is about what that connection is forming in you. Some relationships bring out wisdom, others awaken wounds. Some relationships bring peace, others produce anxiety. Some relationships strengthen purpose, others distract from destiny. Some relationships help you become more whole, others slowly separate you from yourself. This is why love must be guided by wisdom. Because the heart alone can feel deeply, but wisdom helps it see clearly. Healthy love requires clarity, not perfection. clarity. Clarity about intentions, clarity about values, clarity about direction, clarity about commitment, clarity about boundaries, clarity about what both people are building. Confusion should not be the foundation of a relationship. If someone constantly keeps you guessing about where you stand, what they want, how they feel, or whether they are serious, that confusion is information. A person who truly values your heart will not intentionally keep you emotionally uncertain. They will not enjoy your confusion. They will not use ambiguity to control access. They will not keep you attached while refusing responsibility. Healthy love does not play games with clarity. It communicates. It divines. It honors. It respects the emotional weight of relationship. Because the heart should not be placed in a place where of constant uncertainty exists. Healthy love also requires patience, not passive waiting, not ignoring reality, not tolerating disrespect, but wise patience. Patience that allows love to grow properly. Patience that does not rush intimacy. Patience that allows character to be seen. Patience that gives time for trust to develop. Patience that understands that anything valuable should not be handled carelessly. Many people rush because they are afraid of losing someone. But if something is truly healthy, it will not require you to abandon wisdom to keep it. If someone truly values you, they will not pressure you to move faster than your peace allows. They will not punish you for needing clarity. They will not manipulate you for having standards. They will not make you feel guilty for protecting your heart. Because healthy love respects process. It does not rush what should be built carefully. And maybe this is one of the most important truths. The right love will not require you to destroy yourself in order to keep it. The right love will not constantly pull you away from who you are. The right love will not make you feel like your peace is too much to ask for. The right love will not make you beg for basic respect. The right love will not make you feel unsafe for being honest. The right love will not keep you trapped in confusion while calling it passion. Healthy love may challenge you to grow, but it will not constantly damage you. Healthy love may stretch you, but it will not destroy your identity. Healthy love may require sacrifice, but it will not require self-abandonment. That difference matters. Because many people call something love simply because it is intense. But intensity is not always intimacy. Intensity is not always alignment. Intensity is not always God. Sometimes intensity is just attachment. Sometimes intensity is fear. Sometimes intensity is unresolved pain. Sometimes intensity is emotional dependency. Sometimes intensity is the nervous system responding to instability. That is why peace must not be ignored. Peace is not the only sign, but it is an important sign. When something is right, it may not always be easy, but it should not constantly violate the deepest parts of your soul. Healthy love gives room to breathe. It gives room to grow. It gives room to be honest. It gives room to be human. It gives room to heal. it gives room to become. And when love is healthy, it does not make wisdom feel like an enemy. It welcomes wisdom. It welcomes truth. It welcomes accountability. It welcomes growth. It welcomes peace. So before you give your heart, ask yourself, is this love healthy? Is this connection wise? Is this person emotionally mature? Is there consistency? Is there peace? Is there respect? Is there spiritual alignment? Is there honesty? Is there growth? Is there safety? Could this person handle my vulnerability with care? Can they protect what I'm trusting them with? Can they love me without controlling me? Can they value me without using me? Can they walk with me without pulling me away from purpose? These questions really matter because your heart matters, your future matters, your peace matters, your healing matters, your relationship with God matters. And the person you allow close to your heart will influence more than your emotions. They will influence your direction, your confidence, your peace, your choices, your spiritual life, your sense of identity. That is why healthy love requires wisdom. Not just feelings, not just attraction, not just chemistry, not just words, but wisdom. Because when love is guided by wisdom, it becomes safer. When love is guided by healing, it becomes healthier. When love is guided by discernment, it becomes clearer. When love is guided by God, it becomes purposeful. And before you give your heart, you must understand this. The goal is not to become afraid of love. The goal is to become wise enough to love well, not bitter. Wise, not closed. Discerning, not fearful. Healed, not desperate. Grounded, because your heart was created to love, but it was also created to be protected. And every love, we understand both. Thank you. Now, this is where I created before you give your heart.com, because it is necessary to share with you the reason behind creating this website. At some point, I realized this conversation needed a deeper space, not just short opinions, not just entertainment, not just another piece of relationship advice that people hear today and forget tomorrow, but a place where people could slow down, reflect, heal, think, pray, and begin to understand relationships from a deeper place of wisdom. That is why I created before you give your heart.com, and that is why this project exists. Because I believe one of the most important decisions a person will ever make is who they allow close to their heart. The heart is not a small thing. The heart carries emotions, memories, dreams, desires, wounds, hope, trust, faith. And when the wrong person gains access to the heart, the damage can reach deeper than people expect. It can affect confidence. It can affect peace. It can affect identity. It can affect spiritual focus. It can affect how someone sees themselves. It can affect how they love in the future. And too often, people are not prepared before they give that level of access. They are not taught how to recognize emotional danger. They are not taught how to test character. They are not taught how to slow down. They are not taught how to discern. They are not taught how to protect their peace. They are simply told to follow their heart. But the heart needs guidance. The heart needs wisdom. The heart needs healing. The heart needs discernment. Because if the heart is wounded, lonely, desperate, or afraid, it may lead a person towards something familiar, not something healthy. And that is why this message matters. Before you give your heart, it's not just a title. It is a warning. It is an invitation. It is a reminder. It is a message for anyone who has ever loved too quickly, trusted too deeply, stayed too long, ignored too much, or lost themselves trying to be loved. It is for the person who is tired of confusion. It is for the person who keeps attracting the same patterns. It is for the person who wants love, but also wants wisdom. It is for the person who has been hurt before and is trying to heal correctly. It is for the person who wants to love again, but does not want to lose themselves again. It is for the person who wants a relationship that honors peace, purpose, faith, and emotional maturity. This project exists because many people are emotionally exhausted. They are tired of temporary connections, tired of mixed signals, tired of giving their best to people who do not value it, tired of being chosen only when it is convenient, tired of relationships that feel intense but unstable, tired of starting over emotionally, tired of asking why love keeps hurting them. And sometimes the pain is not because they do not know how to love. Sometimes the pain is because they have not learned how to protect the love they carry. They have not learned how to give access wisely. They have not learned how to discern who is safe. They have not learned how to recognize when something is not aligned. They have not learned that peace is not something to sacrifice just to keep someone close. That is the burden behind this project. It is not just about dating. It is about the condition of the heart before love. It is about preparation. It is about wisdom. It is about helping people become emotionally and spiritually aware before they give themselves deeply to another person. Because love should not be entered blindly. Love should not be entered desperately. Love should not be entered just because someone is available. Love should not be entered only because emotions are strong. Love should be entered with wisdom, with clarity, with patience, with prayer, with healing, with discernment, and with an understanding of value. Before You Give Your Heart.com was created to become a space for that kind of reflection. A place where people can think more deeply about love. A place where people can learn to slow down before making emotional decisions. A place where people can be reminded that their heart has value. A place where relationship conversations are not just about who likes you, who texts you, who wants you, or who gives you attention, but about deeper questions. Is this love healthy? Is this person emotionally mature? Is there peace? Is there consistency? Is there respect? Is there spiritual alignment? Is there evidence of character? Is there clarity? Is there safety? Is there relationship helping me grow or slowly making me disappear? These are the kinds of questions people need to ask before they give their hearts. Because the wrong relationship can cost more than time. It can cost peace. It can cost identity. It can cost confidence. It can cost purpose. It can cost spiritual focus. It can cost years of healing. And I believe many people could avoid unnecessary pain if they were taught to pause before giving deep access to their heart. That pause can save a life from emotional destruction. That pause can expose red flags. That pause can reveal inconsistency. That pause can help someone recognize whether they are choosing from wisdom or from loneliness. That pause can help someone ask, am I being led by peace or pressure? Am I choosing from healing or from fear? Am I attached to this person or am I aligned with this person? Am I seeing reality clearly or am I only holding on to potential? These questions are not meant to make people afraid of love. They are meant to make people wiser in love. Because the goal of this project is not to create fear. It is not to make people suspicious of everyone. It is not to make people hard, bitter, or closed. The goal is to help people become wise, healed, grounded, patient, discerning, emotionally mature, spiritually aware. Because when a person becomes wiser, they do not love less. They love better. They love with clarity. They love with peace. They love with boundaries. They love with self-respect. They love from wholeness, not desperation. They love without abandoning themselves. That is the kind of love this project points toward. A love that is not careless. A love that is not rushed. A love that does not ignore wisdom. A love that does not require someone to destroy their peace to prove their loyalty. A love that honors the heart as something sacred. And this is why the whole website matters. Because a message needs a home. A vision needs a place where people can return. A movement needs a center. Before you give your heart.com is meant to be that space. A place for reflection. A place for teaching. A place for resources. A place for reminders. A place where people can return when they need clarity. A place where someone can pause before making emotional decisions that may affect their future. The website is not just a platform. It is part of the mission. It is the digital home of the message. It carries the same question. Before you give your heart, have you understood its value? The question is simple, but it is powerful. Because many people give their heart before they understand what they are giving. They give loyalty before character is proven. They give trust before consistency is seen. They give emotional access before maturity is revealed. They give deep commitment before clarity is established. And sometimes they only realize the cost after the damage is done. This project exists to help people think before that moment, to pause before the pain, to reflect before the attachment, to observe before the surrender, to heal before the commitment, to discern before giving access, and to remember that their heart is valuable before someone else mishandles it. I also created this project because relationship conversations online are often noisy. Many people talk about relationships through anger, through bitterness, through gender wars, through blame, through mockery, through entertainment, through pain that has not healed. But I wanted this project to have a different spirit of calm, reflective, wise, healing, spiritually grounded, emotionally mature, not a place where people come to hate love, but a place where people come to understand love better. Not a place where people are encouraged to become hard, but a place where people are encouraged to become whole. Not a place that glorifies heartbreak, but a place that helps people learn from it. Because pain without wisdom can repeat itself. But pain with wisdom can become transformation. When people understand what hurt them, they can begin to heal. When they understand what patterns they ignored, they can begin to choose differently. Where they understand why they stay too long, they can begin to rebuild self-trust. When they understand their value, they can stop giving access to people who do not recognize it. That is transformation. And transformation is the deeper purpose of this project. Not just information, but transformation. Because it is possible to know relationship advice and still repeat unhealthy patterns. It is possible to hear truth and still ignore it when emotions become strong. It is possible to recognize red flags and still stay. That is why people do not only need information, they need reflection, they need healing, they need conviction, they need reminders, they need spaces that bring them back to wisdom when emotions become loud. That is what I hope before you give your heart becomes. A reminder, a mirror, a guide, a voice of wisdom, a place that says, slow down, you are valuable, your peace matters, your healing matters, your relationship with God matters, your future matters. Do not give your heart casually. Do not give it desperately. Do not give it blindly. Give it wisely. And only to someone who understands the responsibility of receiving it. Because love is beautiful. Love is powerful. Love is necessary. Love is part of the human experience. But love becomes silver when it is guided by wisdom. Love becomes healthier when it is rooted in healing. Love becomes stronger when it is supported by character. Love becomes clearer when it is aligned with truth. And love becomes more purposeful when it is surrendered to God. This is the vision behind the project. To help people approach love with wisdom. To help people protect their hearts without becoming cold. To help people heal without becoming bitter. To help people recognize value before seeking validation. To help people choose peace over emotional chaos. To help people understand that not every connection deserves access to the deepest parts of who they are. And if this project helps even one person avoid emotional destruction, if it helps one person slow down before giving their heart away, if it helps one person recognize a pattern, if it helps one person heal correctly, if it helps one person remember their value, then it was worth creating. Because sometimes one message can interrupt years of pain. One reminder can awaken discernment. One moment of clarity can prevent a person from repeating a cycle. One truth can help someone choose differently. And maybe that is why this project exists. To be that reminder. To be that pause. To be that voice saying, before you give your heart, understand its worth. Before you trust deeply, observe carefully. Before you attach emotionally, discern spiritually. Before you commit fully, heal honestly. Before you give access, know your value. Before your heart is not ordinary. Your heart is not disposable. Your heart is not something to be handed over without wisdom. Your heart carries too much value to be treated casually. And this project exists to help people remember that. Before you give your heart, Make sure the person receiving it understands its value. And first, make sure you do too. Thank you. Before you give your heart, please know that the heart is one of the most valuable things a person possesses. And yet, many people spend years giving it away without truly understanding its worth. Some give their heart away out of loneliness. Some give it away out of fear. Some give it away because they simply want to feel chosen. Some give it away because attention feels like love when the soul is tired. Some give it away because they are hoping someone else will heal what still hurts inside them. But the heart was never meant to be handed away carelessly. It was never meant to be treated casually. It was never meant to become a temporary place for someone else's confusion. It was never meant to be given to people who enjoys access but reject responsibility, because the heart carries too much. It carries memories, it carries wounds, it carries hope, it carries trust, it carries the quiet dreams people rarely say out loud. It carries the desire to be loved, seen, chosen, understood, and protected. And anything that carries that much value should not be given without wisdom. Before you give your heart, you must understand what you are giving. You are not just giving attention. You are not just giving affection. You are not just giving your time. You are giving emotional access. You are giving trust. You are giving vulnerability. You are giving someone the ability to affect your peace, your confidence, your direction, and sometimes even your identity. That is not small. That is sacred. And sacred things require wisdom. Love is beautiful, but love without wisdom can become suffering. Love without healing can become dependency. Love without discernment can become confusion. Love without boundaries can become self-abandonment. Love without peace can become emotional survival. And too many people have called something love simply because it was intense. But intensity is not always love. Sometimes intensity is fear. Sometimes intensity is attachment. Sometimes intensity is anxiety. Sometimes intensity is familiarity with pain. Sometimes intensity is the soul holding on because it is afraid to be alone. That is why peace matters. Peace may not always be loud. Peace may not always feel dramatic. Peace may not always look exciting to people who are used to chaos. But peace is valuable. Peace protects clarity. Peace helps the heart breathe. Peace gives space for truth. Peace allows love to grow without constant fear. And before you give your heart, you must learn to value peace. Because a relationship that constantly destroys your peace is asking for something too expensive. No connection should cost you your soul. No attachment should cost you your identity. No relationship should require you to become less of yourself just to keep someone close. Real love should not force you to abandon your values. Real love should not pressure you to silence your pain. Real love should not make you feel guilty for having boundaries. Real love should not demand access while refusing accountability. Real love should not keep you emotionally trapped in confusion and call it passion. Real love should not make you beg for basic respect. Real love should not require you to destroy yourself in order to prove loyalty. The right love will challenge you to grow, but it will not constantly damage you. The right love will stretch you, but it will not break your identity. The right love will require sacrifice, but it will not require self-abandonment. The right love will invite honesty, it will not punish it. The right love will create room for healing, it will not exploit your wounds. The right love will respect your heart, it will not play with it. That is why discernment is so important. Discernment helps you recognize the difference between desire and alignment, between attention and affection, between chemistry and compatibility, between potential and reality, between fear of being alone and genuine love, between someone who wants access and someone who carries responsibility. Because not everyone who wants your heart is ready to protect it. Not everyone who desires your presence deserves your vulnerability. Not everyone who says the right words has the character to live them. Not everyone makes you feel wanted is capable of loving you well. And that truth may be painful, but it is protective. Because wisdom is not meant to make you bitter. Wisdom is meant to protect what is valuable. Wisdom is not the enemy of love. Wisdom is what helps love become healthy. Wisdom does not close the heart. It teaches the heart how to open safely. It teaches the heart when to pause, when to observe, when to pray, when to listen, when to wait, when to walk away. And sometimes, walking away is not the absence of love. Sometimes, walking away is the presence of wisdom. Sometimes, letting go is not weakness. Sometimes it is self-respect. Sometimes choosing peace is not giving up. Sometimes it is finally recognizing your value because your heart matters. Your healing matters. Your peace matters. Your future matters. Your relationship with God matters. Your identity matters. Your purpose matters. You cannot afford to give your heart to every person who creates a feeling. You cannot afford to give access to every person who shows interest. You cannot afford to mistake temporary attention for long-term commitment. You cannot afford to ignore patterns simply because you are attached to potential. Your life is too valuable for careless love. Your future is too important for emotional confusion. Your peace is too sacred to be constantly sacrificed for someone who refuses to grow. So before you give your heart, slow down, observe, pray, heal, reflect, ask questions, pay attention to patterns. Watch how someone handles disappointment. Watch how they respond to correction. Watch how they speak when they are angry. Watch whether their actions match their words. Watch whether they respect boundaries. Watch whether they bring peace or constant anxiety. Watch whether they support your relationship with God or pull you away from it. Watch whether they make you more whole or slowly make you disappear, because love should not blind you to reality. Love should not silence wisdom. Love should not make you ignore what your spirit keeps trying to show you. And if something constantly feels unclear, unstable, and unsafe, do not rush to call it love. Pause. There is wisdom in pausing. There is strength in waiting. There is protection in discernment. There is maturity in not giving access too quickly. There is healing in choosing peace over pressure. There is power in knowing that you do not have to accept every connection just because it is available. You are not desperate. You are not behind. You are not incomplete because you are waiting wisely. You are not less valuable because someone failed to recognize your worth. You are not unlovable because someone mishandled your heart. You are not broken beyond healing because of what happened in the past. You can heal. You can grow. You can choose differently. You can love again with wisdom. You can become whole. You can rebuild self-trust. You can learn to recognize peace. You can stop confusing chaos with passion. You can stop giving your heart from fear. You can stop accepting emotional crumbs. You can stop shrinking yourself to fit into relationships that were never healthy for you. And you can begin again, not from bitterness, not from wisdom, not from fear, but from healing, not from desperation, but from value. Because the goal is not to become afraid of love. The goal is to become wise enough to love well. The goal is not to close your heart forever. The goal is to guide your heart with understanding. The goal is not to assume everyone will hurt you. The goal is to learn who has the maturity to love you correctly. The goal is not to run from relationships. The goal is to enter them with clarity, peace, discernment, and spiritual grounding. Love is still beautiful. Love is still worth believing in. Love is still part of God's design. Love can still heal. Love can still build. Love can still strengthen. Love can still bring joy. Love can still be peaceful. Love can still be sacred. But love must be handled with wisdom. Because the heart was not created for careless hands. And before someone receives your heart, they should understand the responsibility of holding it. They should understand that your heart is not a game. It is not entertainment. It is not a temporary comfort. It is not something to be used when convenient and ignored when responsibility is required. It is something to be promised love while being given confusion. It is not something to be put close today and pushed away tomorrow. Your heart deserves care. Your heart deserves truth. Your heart deserves consistency. Your heart deserves maturity. Your heart deserves peace. Your heart deserves someone who does not only desire access but honors responsibility. And until that kind of love is present, it is wise to wait. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is not failure. Waiting is not rejection. Waiting is preparation. Waiting is protection. Waiting is wisdom. Waiting gives your heart time to heal. Waiting gives your eyes time to see clearly. Waiting gives your character time to reveal itself. Waiting gives God room to guide you. Do not let loneliness rush what wisdom is trying to protect. Do not let pressure make decisions that peace has not approved. Do not let attractions silence discernment. Do not let fear keep you attached to what is damaging you. Do not let potential blind you to reality. And do not let the desire to be loved make you forget that you are already valuable. Before anyone chooses you, you have value. Before anyone texts you, you have value. Before anyone claims you, you have value. Before anyone sees your work, you have value. Before anyone gives you attention, you have value. Your value is not created by being wanted. Your value is not created by being in a relationship. Your value is not created by someone else's approval. Your value already exists. And when you understand that, you stop begging for love that is not healthy. You stop chasing people who are not emotionally available. You stop staying where peace is absent. You stop negotiating with disrespect. You stop handing your heart to people who only know you or who know how to take. You start choosing differently. You start observing carefully. You start valuing consistency. You start respecting your own boundaries. You start listening to wisdom. You start trusting peace. You start believing that love should not destroy you. And that is the transformation. Not just finding someone, but becoming someone who knows the value of their heart. Someone who can love deeply without losing themselves. Someone who can trust wisely. Someone who can walk away when wisdom requires it. Someone who can wait without feeling worthless. Someone who can heal without becoming bitter. Someone who can love again without ignoring discernment. That is the kind of person this journey is meant to build. Because before you give your heart, you must first understand it. You must understand its value, its vulnerability, its history, its wounds, its hopes, its need for healing, its need for wisdom, its need for protection. And when you finally understand its worth, you will not give it away casually. You will not give it away desperately. You will not give it away blindly. You will give it with wisdom, with peace, with prayer, with clarity, with discernment, with self-respect, and with a deeper understanding that love should be a place of growth, not destruction. A place of peace, not constant anxiety. A place of honesty, not manipulation. A place of safety, not fear. A place of purpose, not confusion. That is healthy love. That is wise love. That is the kind of love worth preparing for. So before you give your heart, learn to recognize your value. Learn to listen to wisdom. Learn to protect your peace. Learn that not every connection deserves access to your soul. Learn that being chosen by the wrong person can still become destruction. Learn that patience can protect what desperation might expose. Learn that discernment is not fear. Learn that boundaries are not rejection. Learn that healing is not weakness. Learn that waiting is not failure. Learn that your heart should be given intentionally, not desperately. Because the right love will never require you to destroy yourself in order to keep it. The right love will not make peace feel impossible. The right love will not make wisdom feel like an enemy. The right love will not punish you for protecting your heart. The right love will understand that your heart has value. And first, you must understand it too. Before you give your heart, make sure the person receiving it understands its value. And first, make sure you do too. Thank you for watching. This is only the beginning of the journey. Continue the conversation at beforeyougiveyourheart.com. And remember, your heart has value. Please protect it with wisdom. Thank you very much.